Is it working? That's on. All right. I think we're in business. Okay. All right. Looks good? Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Whew. All right. Well, sorry about that. Let me. My dad likes to watch, so I'm letting him know. Um, Sorry about that. There were a lot of technical difficulties. Not quite sure what's going on. I was seeing one thing on my end, and others obviously weren't. So, like I was saying, there's been a lot of ire and debate over this whole Tylenol being linked to autism thing. But man, so this is one of my favorite topics, which is because like the health of the people, right? The health of the people is one of the main causes for the cultural divide, I believe, right? It's one of the main causes for mental illness. Like everyone's saying gut health. I'm not a doctor. I don't know about that, but it sounds right to me, right? Um, a lot of people are going with gut health lately. That's kind of the trend, and from what I'm seeing from the medical side, your gut health is what causes the rest of the health, which it makes sense to me. But I don't know enough to speak on that. So all I know is that if you are healthy, then everything about you should be healthy. You know what I mean? Um, but again, what do I know, right? Um, so the point I'm bringing up is that this whole Tylenol debate is really pushing people far more than I would have ever expected it to. Um, President Trump and the administration have put out a study saying that Tylenol is linked to autism, um, and that the rates for autism are rising. And from what I know, they're not saying that it is the reason for autism, but it's linked to it. Um, and obviously, saying that it's linked to autism is completely different than saying it is the reason for autism, right? So people are going crazy about this. Uh, I guess let me just show you what I put up, and it was the center of a lot of attention, and I'm getting people and talking to me personally about it, yada yada yada. And also I just kind of want to address something, because I've had a few people bring this up now, and in bringing this up, it shows that you haven't watched all my videos, which is perfectly fine. I understand. However, if you did, you wouldn't be asking the question or saying it, telling me this, right? Um, I am like I'm not farming for views. I'm not like, yeah, I'm streaming to other things, but I'm not posting tons of there's no autism in Cuba because they can't afford it. What? Okay. Um God. My dad sent me that. Sorry. Sorry, that just came so out of left field. um okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. Can't afford to. I understood the joke. He's saying they can't afford Tylenol. I understand the joke. Okay. I'll get myself together. I'm sorry. Whew, that was that was so out of left field. Um. So some people are saying that like, yeah, I'm just farming or I'm choosing one side or whatever. The things that I'm bringing up are things that people have brought up to me, or I ask a question and then the answers bring some kind of ire or some kind of debate, right? Um, so the things that I'm bringing up are affecting the people around me. And by around, I mean through social media, my circle, right? Obviously, a lot of it is physically around me as well. Um, I am in an interesting position where I'm seeing a lot of the effects. Um, oh, the president said it, and he wasn't joking. Oh, I didn't catch that. Talking about the can't afford Tylenol. Um, so all the things that I've been talking about have been brought up to me and typically asked to be talked about, or they're things that I believe are worth talking about because so many people are talking about them. So, um, regardless of like dead internet theory, we're gonna get into that a little bit for so that people that may not know. I've been wondering about the dead internet theory for quite a long time. Um, and that's basically like everything's bots and almost nothing's real anymore. Um, so, uh, like the things from the people around me are real, even if they are the situations and the feelings are manufactured. The feelings and the thoughts that people are having from the manufactured situations that are brought up or the environment that's brought up, it becomes real. So that's why I bring these things up, right? Uh, so let's get into it. So I simply on Facebook. A lot of you, if you're seeing this, you probably saw it. Can somebody explain to me? I asked this genuinely because I like to see other people's opinions. Um, didn't I got a much different reaction than I kind of expected from a lot of people. So I put, can somebody explain to me the whole let's make fun of Tylenol situation? I'm under the impression that reliance on any Western medicine, regardless of how minuscule the effect is always a detriment. So, with the advice of don't take Tylenol during pregnancy, the absolute most critical time of a person is being seen as completely unfounded. I don't even take aspirin due to this belief. Aloe vera for sunburn, surgery for cancer. I know that there's a better saying for that, but that's the one that came to my mind, right? Also, if the argument is I didn't notice any effects with my kids, it's not much of one. What I've been seeing the last few months in regards to autism, I'm 100% believing this can be one of many causes, right? So I guess let me break this down more for those that want to see it. I have also noticed that it seems like a few people have been unfollowing me, unfriending me. I don't care. Like I brought up one person in the last stream, not a name, of course, and they were one of them. So instead of enlightening me on what they believe the First Amendment was, they just unfollow. Which okay, fine. Um, you are absolutely free to do whatever you want. Not my problem. I I'm just losing another person to that from that side that I was hoping would talk, but I guess I'm wrong. Um, so, uh, I'm under the impression that reliance on any Western medicine, regardless of how minuscule the effect is always a detriment. That is something that I have believed for a very long time. Um, I 100% and I confirmed a lot of this. I didn't get permission to bring the message up, but a very trusted friend of mine, doctor, basically confirmed my thought process, although using the words that I don't understand. Like I understand reading them, but I wouldn't be able to say them, right? I'm not a doctor. I just know things, do things, right? Um, but they confirmed like how small things can turn on and turn off genes, and like even if it's genetically inherited, certain things trigger change. It should be expected. If you have any sense, you should be able to understand that there's chain reactions when you put things into your body, regardless of how small or how large. And for Western medicine, it's kind of supposed to be a one size fits all, and it's all unnatural, right? As much as we want to believe it, or as much as we want to believe we're above natural law, we're not. We're still animals. We still fall under the same guidelines of life that everything else does. Whatever we put into our bodies, it affects us. So when science says, or when medicine says, hey, this is healthy for you. Well, also 500 years ago, we don't know what all these things do, right? And anyone that says they actually know, they're lying. Doctors, they're going to recommend whatever the FDA approves. They're not going to, if they're smart, they're not going to go against it. I mean, otherwise they would probably wouldn't be insured. But the FDA changes things all the time. They're just doing what they can. You can say that they're bought out, and if you believe that they're bought out, then you absolutely shouldn't trust any of that. Um, but you know, that I like people are just doing the best that they can. I hope, right? I hope people are just doing the best that they can, and science moves forward, medicine moves forward, and things like that. And I think this is one of those things that medicine's moving forward. We've learned more. However, there is a cost. Um, gotta. So, so with the advice of don't take Tylenol during pregnancy, the absolute most critical time of a person is being seen as completely unfounded. What I don't understand is a lot of this argument is saying that a lot of people are going with the idea that Tylenol has no effect on the unborn. Like, what do you mean? If drinking a cup of coffee, even though you've been doing it your entire life, but now you're pregnant, drinking a single cup of coffee affects it. What do you mean? So why wouldn't aspirin or Tylenol? Just because you don't understand that there's an effect doesn't mean that there isn't one. It might be tiny. It might be tiny, but it's there, right? So I'm not going to pretend that I understand the difference or the how much Tylenol makes a difference, yada yada yada. I just know that anything you do affects it, and it's magnified when the woman's pregnant. It's magnified for the baby. It has to be. It doesn't make sense for it to not be, right? Because everything good for the baby, anything good for her should be good for the baby, but magnified. Just because it's so vulnerable, it's in a vulnerable state. And if I'm wrong, let me know. I don't see how I would be. Um, Let me fix this. All right. Um, so the logic just doesn't make sense, right? Especially if you're somebody that believes in science. If you believe in science and you believe that science is the end all be all, you should never go in saying I know. It just doesn't make sense. For my take on aloe vera for sunburn, surgery for cancer, I 100% believe that for all minor things, there's no reason that there shouldn't be a natural cure. We've lived for God knows how many thousands of years. Um, and natural things have been working forever. But for the most severe, obviously Western medicine's perfect. It's just that I don't think that these small, like, I'm not a doctor, no, not advice at all or anything like that. But the reason that I don't take anything is like I full heartedly believe that if I take like antidepressants, then I'm going to need those antidepressants to not be depressed. So it creates it create in trying to prevent the symptoms, it's going to create the actual issue. And I could be completely wrong about that. I'm completely open to being wrong about that. I don't know. Um, Again, everything should be between you and your doctor. I only trust doctors so much. They're just people that went to college, and I've talked to more than enough doctors and other people that I don't like what they've said. I have taken advice from I've taken advice from doctors and gotten some devastating effects that I don't want to talk about right now. And then when I start doing what I think is right, things seem to work. That's all I'm going to say. Um, and it just because somebody has authority doesn't mean that they know what's best, right? Um, well, trust the science. Well, the science shouldn't trust the science either. Question everything, right? If the argument is I didn't notice any effects with my kids, it's not much of one. It really isn't. And what I've been seeing the last few months in regards to autism, I'm 100% believing this can be one of many causes. I am seeing an absolute rise in autism, especially with what I currently do. It seems like almost every other person has it. I think it's far higher than 1 in 10 is, I think, what the number was or something like that that I saw. It seems like it's far higher than that. It now I also think that that's an diagnoses. Uh, but I don't know. I don't know. It's probably so many different things all at once. Everything is probably right. Everything's probably wrong. It's insane. Something has to happen. So this post, this was a comment that came from a medic. They've been a medic for quite a while. Um, I don't I remember that the person themselves is pretty high caliber. Um, so basically, what I'm saying is, I don't think that there's any lie or deceit here whatsoever. This is what they truly believe, right? So this also gets pretty complicated because Tylenol is literally one of the only medications considered safe for pregnant women to take for pain or fever. So obviously, a ton of pregnant women are going to take only the only medication considered safe for their pregnancy when they have symptoms that warrant it. So it gets really difficult to pinpoint the causal link since so many women take it when pregnant. Correlation is not always causation. Normally, I would read the whole thing, but it's pretty long, so I'm just going to break this down as we go. Uh, I'm sorry, like I'm so glad I was born a man. So glad because especially when you're pregnant, women go through so much. There's a reason that women are like the most valuable resource. It's not men. Men are not like, yeah, we can build things, we can fight wars or anything like that, but like women, no. They they put their lives on the line, and we're only recently at a time where it's not lethal to give birth. Maybe back before medicine and records, like maybe women could give birth more often, and that's how we were able to survive. I don't know. Um, but like, bro, y'all go through it, and it seems like it's such a. It sucks to say a ton of pregnant women are going to take the only medication considered safe for their pregnancy. That is such a hefty statement, and I've known this to be true. I knew that there was only so many things that you can do, and you like they can't even eat most things, right? And again, it's all going to change, I'm sure. But like what we're asking of our women when they're pregnant is insane. And I understand that the backlash is, well, you're asking for more because now if I'm in pain, I can't even take Tylenol. I think Tylenol's a painkiller, right? It's a few things. Um, I mix them all up. I don't take meds, so all the names and everything like that, it throws me off. Um, but the only medication considered safe for their pregnancy, and yeah, that just got 18 weeks. Congratulations, by the way. That's awesome. Um, it's the only one of the only medication considered safe. So that means that almost nothing is safe, and we are asking you to just grin and take it, and it's one more thing that you got to deal with. Absolutely, and that sucks. Yes, it sucks for you. Absolutely, but it's something it's got to be done. It sucks. Like, and there's no easy answer for that. Like, you can either take it or like what's more important, the health of your child or your health? That's really what it comes down to. So there's a lot of people that they're saying, well, it's just it's a small chance. Okay, then what chance are you willing to risk your own kid, right? If you having headaches or whatever means that your kid is being brought into the world with a handicap, then is it really worth it? Or can you just grin and bear it? And yeah, that is like just one more thing on top of the pile of 1,000 other things that you're having to deal with. From the pains to the mood swings to the aches to the literal everything. Like, God, I am so glad I was born a man. But that's all there is to it. It's just something that's got to happen. So if you're someone that's saying, well, and like I'm seeing videos of women chugging Tylenol now, like as they're pregnant. One, I don't think they're actually chugging Tylenol. They're probably doing something different. It looks stupid. I don't. Sure, I'm sure some are just to prove a point. Um, it's so ridiculous. I don't like. Again, different people have different beliefs, but my full belief is that the only reason for life is the next generation. So yeah, it's one more thing that's being asked of you. That's all it comes down to. Think of it this way. Did you know there has been a positive correlation established between eating ice cream and getting sunburns? Does the ice cream cause the sunburns? Nope. But what are usually the circumstances in which someone eats ice cream? But what are usually the circumstances in which someone eats ice cream? They're fucking stupid. In which someone eats ice cream in the summer, usually outside on a hot day, where you guessed it, people get sunburns. I really like this sentence because this is how I put things. So I really like this one. The ice cream didn't give anyone a sunburn, the sun did, but people also happen to eat ice cream when they're outside on a sunny day. So would not eating ice cream decrease your risk of getting sunburns? Nah. Which, by the way, there has been no causal link established with Tylenol and autism. So I don't know about this. I'm still looking into this. What I've been sent is a lot, and I've only skimmed some, so I don't have an actual answer. However, again, my thing is I take absolutely nothing because I am afraid that it's not healthy, it's not natural. I don't take unnatural things, right? Even I am straight up addicted. It's miserable. Don't do it. I hate it. I've been addicted for a very long time. Yeah, that's how they conduct these studies. um, but that's my only vice. I'm sure that there's others like candy, I guess. I don't know. So the only issue with that analogy is that I mean it's not really an issue with the analogy. It's actually a really good analogy, I think. If you know you're still getting sunburns and the sunburns are bad enough, then I'm gonna stop eating ice cream. If the sunburns are bad enough and I think that they're the thing that are causing it, I'm gonna stop eating ice cream. Now, if it's minor and the other issue is that like sunburns go away, there's probably not one person in my chat that knows sunburns like I do. Um, they do go away, and it's the risk versus reward, right? And that's what it comes down to is it worth it? If I know I'm going to go get ice cream and it's going to cause a sunburn, it's not worth it. So it's a good analogy. I like it. Anywho, what do pregnant women who take Tylenol usually have in common? They are experiencing an illness of some sort, right? They have pain. They have a fever, symptoms of illness, right? So how do we prove that their illness, genetics, and whatever else isn't causing the neurodivergencies in their children and just the Tylenol is? This is where it gets tricky and why there's actually no causal link established at this time. I also have given birth to 3 children, one diagnosed autistic and one in the process of getting diagnosed ADHD. I didn't take Tylenol with any of my pregnancies, but I did catch a nasty virus that almost got me hospitalized with both of those pregnancies. Then again, I myself am autistic, so who knows? Okay, so Man, I am talking with my hands a lot. Um, so here is the other part of that I think, right? So when it is said that there is a link or a cause, right? It doesn't mean that it's the only one. Multiple things can be true at once. So for me, my take on this is that it's not just Tylenol. It's our food, it's our soaps, it's our everything. It's the hormones that going into our bodies and coming out of it. It's our foods. It like I didn't even realize like bath soaps and lotions and things like that are causing so many issues. That never even occurred to me until a few months ago. And I think someone else brought it up, and I went, that makes so much sense. Um, and that's where that whole the gut, like happy gut thing comes in. I can't really speak on that because I don't know much about it, but it makes perfect sense to me. Um, so when you're saying just Tylenol is the issue, you're wrong. But if you're going to say there's a 1% chance added if I take Tylenol of my kid to have autism, then is it worth it, right? Um, and if there's been such an increase of autism, I don't think Tylenol did all that. I don't think so. It doesn't make sense. But it's a myriad of things from the Tylenol to our food to our lotions to I can't even think of those are just the big three that come to my mind. Even probably our water. Like as far as I know, bottled water. There's even sugar and other things in bottled water because they flavor it, whatever, right? It tastes like water. Well, it tastes like the water that they make. Um, Cancer was a thing before cigarettes, but we still know smoking causes cancer. Exactly. Thank you. Um, it is a cause, but it is not the cause, you know? And then it's also compounding effects. It's only going to get more and more and more ridiculous. Um, and it hurts. It sucks. And I'm seeing this in person, real time, and I'm seeing it, and now like the pieces are being put together. It's insane. So uh, yeah, giving birth to three children, one autistic, one ADHD. I also think that there's also overdiagnoses. I already said that, but I'm going to say it again. Um, because pharmaceuticals want to make money and doctors see someone. If a kid is sitting in a classroom going crazy, it doesn't mean that the kid's got ADHD. Maybe you're just boring. Kids do stupid things. Kids are kids. ADHD and being a kid are two completely different things. I don't it's not natural for kids to sit down and look at and listen to people 24/7 for what 6 to 8 hours a day. That's not natural. It's not how we are as humans. That's not what we do. So if a kid is having issues in school, you don't need to medicate them and make them docile. Just be better at your job. Oh, well, teachers are having a hard enough time. Yep. Multiple things can be true at once. Be better at the job, teach them better. And sure, are there kids with ADHD? Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure of it. But are there that many kids with ADHD and autism? I don't know about that. I don't think so. Makes a lot more sense that if everybody's on medication, there's a lot of money in it. All right. In regards to the Trump thing, I would say that his announcement on the subject has made him look pretty bad. Not being able to say a set amount. I don't know how to say that. He kind of dug his own grave with that one, which I understand because you're president. Yeah, I understand with that one, and it was easy to not take him seriously or villainize him after that. How he flat out said Tylenol is bad and you shouldn't take it. FDA hasn't even said this. Uh, the only and it makes it easy for people to see this as fear mongering. The only thing that I have to say about this is Tylenol themselves also said not to take it if you're pregnant, and that's because it hasn't been tested. Yada yada yada. That was years ago. I don't know. Whether you believe that or not, up to you. But and I'm pretty sure he said unless if you seriously have to, which is I agree with. I would have agreed that before they ever said that there was a link. I'm always going to say Unless if you seriously need it, don't take it. That's my stance on all of it, right? Like I I raw dog life, except for this, which this this wrecks me. I do not recommend. Do not recommend. His comment on how you should not take Tylenol at all if you're pregnant because it's bad unless you absolutely have to. It makes him seem like he is shaming women who have to take Tylenol. And again, that makes it easy to villainize him. That's exactly what I was talking about. We we as society are asking even more from our women in doing this. Because now that is one more thing, and it seemed like the last thing that they had as a crutch. So we are asking women to take pregnancy and everything that comes along with it head on. Absolutely. If it means that our children are better and healthier and stronger, absolutely. And that sucks for you. I, me as I am right now, I don't know if I could do it. Y'all, it's insane. It's insane what you guys have to put up with, man. Like, yeah, I got to go to war. Yeah, I mean, we're the ones that are supposed to work and build everything and fight and yada yada yada. I'll take that over this. I'll take that easily. Maybe because I'm hardwired that way. I don't know, but I like what I do more than that. My God, it's a lot. So yes, uh, asking more, but it's worth it. I was always helping kids in my class back in elementary school. I got diagnosed with borderline ADHD and given meds. After a month of me in a zombie like state, my parents took me off of it. See, that was smart. But that was also years ago. That was also years ago. Things have changed. I myself am not a Trump supporter, but I can see how this conference caused a lot of outrage, and I can also see that probably wasn't his intent, and he probably did have the public's best interest at heart, but how he conveyed it just didn't go as well as he hoped, and he was not as educated on the matter as he should have been prior to this conference. He was kind of set up to fail on that one. A little bit of a devil's advocate here. I've been a paramedic for many years. Tylenol really can be a lifesaver for pregnant women and babies. Absolutely. Situational, absolutely. Situation. My issue is convenience and overuse, right? Situational, I am always on board with. That sometimes things have to happen, but most people think that casual use is situational. I've seen the effects firsthand of what high untreated fevers can do to pregnant women and babies, even untreated pain. Fully agree, but most people that take Tylenol don't have this. So it's the same thing with penicillin. Most people don't take penicillin right, and that's where the whole superbug's coming from, yada, yada, yada. People are screwing it up, right? Now that women are being shamed into not taking a medication that can truly help them, they'll likely avoid it and cause true harm to themselves and the fetus they are carrying. So I disagree here. They'll likely avoid it and cause. Yes, they will likely avoid it. Yes, hopefully. If it's true, hopefully. Yes, it's asking for more. Absolutely. Still worth it. And cause true harm to themselves and the fetus they are carrying. If you take the situational out of this and you just think about the casual, which is 99% of all situations, then I don't see how it would cause true harm if you take out the situational, the exception, right? A pregnant woman stressed from pain and a pregnant woman with a very high and or sustained untreated fever will cause more harm to a fetus than Tylenol will. Ooh, that's a pretty good argument. A woman stressed from pain. Not gonna lie, that's a pretty good argument. However, I don't know which one is worse, a woman being stressed or heavy medication. I don't have that answer. I am not educated enough to make that answer. That's something that I might need to look into. My guess is medication does more damage, especially if you can find natural and it won't cause true harm. Which part? Are you talking about not taking the Tylenol? Is that what you're saying that won't cause true harm? Because again, if we're taking the situational and the exception out of it, and we're talking the casual, the 99%, I fully agree. However, this part, a pregnant woman stressed from pain, I think that affects far more people. Um, and the issue with that is stress and pain are they're subjective. So a 7 to me might be a 10 for somebody else because they don't know what a real 10 feels like. Um, but I don't know if that subjective pain also causes damage to the baby. Yeah, not taking casually. So yeah, we're in agreement. Um, so I don't know which one would cause more pain or cause more damage to the unborn. If it's stress or Tylenol, I don't know. That's something that should really be looked into and by people that are smarter than me. Interesting. Good argument. And a pregnant woman with a very high or sustained untreated fever will cause more harm to a fetus than Tylenol will. There's no argument there. Tylenol doesn't do a lot for pain anyways. I wouldn't know, so I'm gonna have to take your word on that. Um, and to my understanding, I agree. And let's be realistic here. Since when is a spontaneous abortion of a wanted pregnancy or child born with severe heart or other defects that will cause significant suffering prior to ultimately claiming the child's life, something untreated fevers can cause, better than the potential of having a kid with autism or ADHD? Can't grammar today, still can't forgive me. Okay, let me reread this one. This is kind of tough. And let's be realistic here. Since when is a spontaneous abortion of a wanted pregnancy or a child born with severe heart or other defects that will cause significant suffering prior to ultimately claiming the child's life, something untreated fevers can cause, okay, better than the potential. Okay, so again, I think that this is talking the situational, right? It's like the difference between convenient abortions versus life-saving abortions, right? Complete different topics. Um, like where I stand is abortions out of convenience shouldn't be a thing. Um, there's always an exception. That's what it comes down to. There's always an exception. And we should be arguing on the exceptions. Um, and that I'm pretty lenient when it comes to exceptions. Um, so it I feel like if we're saying take the exceptions and the significant issues out, and we're just talking about the casual, this is not an issue. So, and I don't really try to talk extreme circumstances because that's not what we care about. Extreme circumstances should always be exceptions to just about everything. Edited to okay. So you did really good. If you watched the video, I appreciate you taking the time and writing this all out. I really I liked it. So here are some studies on. This is from someone else on Tylenol. I'm not saying that word. Acetaminophen. Acetaminophen. Hmm. And its potential link to autism. Mount Sinai meta-analysis, evaluation of the evidence on acetaminophen use and neurodevelopmental disorders. How come I can say neurodevelopmental, but acetaminophen? Acetaminophen. I don't know. Disorders using the navigation guide mythology found an association between prenatal Tylenol use and increased risk of autism and ADHD. Okay, that goes in line with what I say. Published in 2024. No causal link between the use or intellectual disability. Johns Hopkins. Plasma biomarkers of an in utero Tylenol exposure with risk of attention deficit, ADHD, and autism spectrum. So, yep. increased risk. Doctors will give you pills with codeine if it's that extreme. Agreed. There's always, if it's an extreme case, there's extreme answers. Found an association between prenatal and risk. So this is basically just arguing. Search engine for scholarly literature. Yep. And what's funny is I've found out, and I've seen it firsthand, that doctors, like after they check out your symptoms, they literally just Google everything. It's like, honestly, this is one of those things where AI really should really kick in, and AI is going to do a better job diagnosing you soon than people. There's too many variables when it comes to people, right? And it, doctors can only do so much. They're just one person. Um, there's currently no scientific consensus or definitive evidence that Tylenol causes autism. The claim has been subject of recent political and legal debates, and while some studies have suggested possible association, they have not proven the causal link. Here's a breakdown of key points: correlation versus causation, conflicting research, 2024 study in Sweden, da da da. Conversely, some other studies. Yep, it's talking about everything we just talked about. Lawsuits filed against manufacturers. In summary, while there is a public and legal debate surrounding the issue, the scientific and medical consensus remains that there is no proven causal link between Tylenol and autism. The issue is the word proven. Acetaminophen. Acetaminophen. Aha! I said it. Thank you. Um, not affiliated. Da, 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 da. Oh, I don't. Okay. Bots. That goes back into the dead internet theory, I think. All right. I think that's good enough for that. So here's my thing, right? I'm seeing the mainstream media going against it, and they're just trying to make fun of Trump. That's why I brought this up. When it seems like these studies have been going on for years. It's ridiculous. I'm not even gonna watch this. It's just so stupid. Uh, X post, Twitter post. We actually don't recommend using any of our products while pregnant. Thank you for taking the time to voice your concerns today. More than likely, they said that for insurance reasons, but yeah, that Tylenol themselves say it, and that was in 2017. Another iteration. 2019, Tylenol is still not tested to be used during pregnancy. Perfect. Congrats on your upcoming edition. So exciting. It'd be great to touch base real quick since we haven't tested Tylenol to be used during pregnancy. And we see what coupons we have for baby. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. It coming in a little late. I just got done talking about your post, so if you're watching this live, go back. Um, very well put. Very happy with that. Um, so yeah, like that's my breakdown on the whole Tylenol thing. I am completely why hi Gotti. Um, the my entire take is it doesn't change anything because it still stands in with what I believed for years, which is again casual use of Western medicine is not a good thing. Casual use of natural medicine is not a good thing. Use the natural medicine again, like there's natural remedies for stomach aches and pain and whatnot, yada yada. And I'm not talking about going full gypsy. I mean like aloe vera works great for sunburns. It always has. There's so many different answers out there, right? And I trust that far more than any kind of westernized medicine that is a painkiller or it's meant to do this thing, but it causes 20 and a half more side effects than it fixes, right? Because we just don't know. All this is new. Our whole world is new, and we just don't know. And anyone that claims to know is lying. They're either lying. The three things: they're lying, they're wrong, or they're being an asshole. So, or my bad. They're they're wrong, they're ignorant, or they're being an asshole, which goes in line with lying. So that there's no other answer. Um, and again, I don't know any of this. I'm not a doctor, but I don't think the doctors know either. Most of them don't. They're just going off of what they're told. Um, because like the doctors, they're not the researchers, and even the researchers don't know because they're researching. That's why they're researching. So I don't know. It's just a lot. But this all goes back to the dead internet theory. If you don't know what the dead internet theory, that is a huge leap from Tylenol to dead internet theory. But the dead internet theory is basically saying that most of the things that are causing the division and most of the things that we see on the internet nowadays are created by computers themselves, AI, right? And this has been going on for a long time. And now that there's an AI boom, it's causing even more division and doing even more. Um, so with a lot of the discourse that's going on, there is a lot, and like I'm seeing China has tons of bots that are jumping on the Charlie Kirk bandwagon. Um, there is a pretty easy method to kind of to combat this, um, and that's just seeing like what I do, right? I think who put it up for me was they were saying you're feeding into the comments by bots, yada yada. No, I'm talking about the things that the people I know are talking about, right? That's how I can combat that. Um, there are so many different things going on right now, and you cannot trust almost nothing right now, right? So if there are like 10,000 views on something, maybe 1,000 people actually watched it, and the other 9,000 are paid because it costs maybe say for every dollar it takes to have a bot, the person that's getting the views is going to get like $1.25, right? And a lot of them don't even know that they're getting it. It's just the way things work because it's all based on money and there's ad revenue and yada yada yada. Um, but what's going on is it's actually starting to be used in warfare, and there's other countries that are using this to say like, "Hey, Charlie Kirk deserved it," and so it starts a stream of people and other bots just egging it on, and then it actually starts to fuel real world real world viewpoints. So people think that they're a lot more popular than they are, and just it's absolutely destructive because nowadays the internet is real world. There's every day that that bridge between the internet and real life gets smaller and smaller. So it's slowly becoming real world. So I don't remember if this is any good.
Has gotten bigger and more complex, a theory has risen called the dead internet theory, which is that the majority of the internet, from the content you see to the people you interact with, are all bots. And the more I learn about dead internet theory, the more that I realize that everything really is bots. The Minecraft parkour Reddit text-to-speech videos that show up on your shorts feed are usually made from bots, and of course a lot of comments are bots. Even though they say really nice things about my videos, they're not real. Even Instagram had that weird AI chatbot feature where you could talk to characters like your old high school rival or Freaky Bob, which, I mean, I probably would talk to Freaky Bob. I'm curious what he has to say. But the craziest example of bot-made content I found is I was looking up a web development question, and I got this video recommended. It was a Beluga Discord-style video, but with coding questions, and when I clicked on their profile to see what else they've made, I noticed that they had not 1 million subscribers, but 1 million videos. I've never seen anything like that in my entire life. I didn't even think that was possible. And I guarantee that this isn't the only channel like this. There's probably tons more I don't even know about. Oh yeah, also Instagram had an option for you to talk to any influencer that has an AI of them.
Okay, don't care. So again, this all goes. It bought me so hard. um, so it goes in line with what I was saying. Basically, just it's all for ad revenue, people trying to make money, and sowing discourse, uh, or causing mischief, destroying lines between people. And I think it's a huge reason for the culture war that we're currently in. Um, it's just absolutely ridiculous. There's so many things going on with this Tylenol, and basically the only way I see it is if you are saying that they're wrong for saying it, then like you need to take a step back and think about how science has evolved. Just because you don't like him and it comes from his mouth does not mean it's not a thing, right? It's just stop. You don't know. I don't know. The only thing that I know is that Western medicine, we don't know. That's what I know. I know we don't know. So if if you want to increase the chances, that's on you. I hope the best for you. I really do. And especially I hope the best for your kids, and I hope you are correct and he is wrong. But you got to realize that when he says something, he's not the one that's saying it. It's the people that are in charge. Oh, I don't like RFK Jr. Well, RFK Jr.'s probably not the one that did the research. I think it was like someone at John Hopkins or something like that. Um, that was the final say on it. So, and they've been doing the study for like 10 years. So, just because it comes out of his mouth and you don't like him doesn't mean it's not true. Just, just stop. Is an MD, a PhD, and the dean of the faculty at Harvard Chan School, Chan School of Public Health. I can't imagine Harvard is partisan towards Trump. Is it me? Statement from her. Da, da, da. Colleagues and I recently conducted a rigorous review funded by a grant from the National Institute of Health of the potential risk of Tylenol. I'm not going to keep saying that. Use Tylenol use during pregnancy. And yes, I know Tylenol is a brand name. We reviewed 46 previously published human studies worldwide. We found evidence of an association between exposure to Tylenol during pregnancy and increased incidence of neurodevelopmental disorders in children. This association is strongest when Tylenol is taken for 4 weeks or longer. Interesting. So casually, weird. I haven't even seen this yet. And I was saying don't take it casually. Interesting. Um, as we noted in our review, animal studies have independently suggested that prenatal exposure to this can adversely affect the developing brain. This biological evidence lends support to the possibility of a causal relationship between prenatal acetaminophen exposure and neurodevelopmental disorders, including autism. Further research is needed to confirm the association and determine causality, but based on existing evidence, I believe that caution about Tylenol use during pregnancy, especially heavy or prolonged use, is warranted. Oh, I'm not even smart. um, it's almost word for word, just smarter. At the same time, as the only approved medication for pain and fever reduction during pregnancy, Tylenol remains an important tool for pregnant patients and their physicians. High fever can pose risks to both the mother and the fetus, including neural tube defects and preterm birth. After assessing the evidence, my colleagues and I recommended a balanced approach based on the precautionary principle. Patients who need fever or pain reduction during pregnancy should take the lowest effective dose of Tylenol for the shortest possible duration after consultation with their physician about their individual risk-benefit calculation. There's nothing to argue with here. I discussed our scientific findings and this recommendation from our review article with Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and NIH Director Jay Bhattacharya in recent weeks and appreciate their interest in this study. Nothing to argue here. Back in the early days of COVID, YouTube suspended me for stating what we know to be fact: masks don't prevent the transmission of COVID-19. I'm glad to see YouTube has finally taken some accountability for its role in silencing those of us who question the official government narrative. That is probably a talk for tomorrow. There's a lot going on with that. The fact that the social media networks are finally being held accountable for the things that they did during COVID and silencing of people. Woo! I think that's going to be a talk for tomorrow. That's a lot. Google admits censorship under Biden. Yep. Promises to end bans of YouTube accounts of thousands of Americans censored for political speech. You were wrong. They were wrong, and they censored people that ended up right. So, I don't know. Weird. That word fascism pops up in my head for some reason. I don't know why. Weird. Um, Left-wing terrorism on the rise. Probably save that for tomorrow. The ICE shooting that happened. Apparently somebody shot at an ICE facility and killed, I think it's up to all three migrants that they had, illegal migrants. Illegals. So they killed the wrong people, and they had like etchings. They were trying to mimic the Charlie Kirk shooter. Doesn't surprise me. I'm really curious to see if somebody says, "Oh, they were right wing on this one too." Um, I'm gonna watch the rest of this. Who is Nick Fuentes? I'm gonna watch the rest of this because, God, everything that people thought Charlie Kirk was, this guy is. Like, just let me play at the beginning of this. Oh my God.
Your opinion of me. I'm Middle Eastern, married to a white girl. Or do you think it's better off for America to minimize more of me coming to America?
America's no longer America. Mass migration is changing what America is. And I want to conserve what America historically has always been.
Well, that's a little bit, that's a little bit harsh.
Well, I'm not in favor of interracial marriages. That's against my values. I want to have a white wife. I want to have white kids. That's important to me.
That's kind of racist.
I agree.
Okay.
But let's
At
remember.
least he's honest.
How bad is the video? Is it appropriate
You
to
could
just
pull
show?
it up, yeah, it's
Rob,
up
can you pull it up? I'm actually curious on how bad the video is.
It's a funny search query. I'm not sorry because this is a political attack. This is how political control is maintained.
So when you go a week ago and you're like, "Na, na, 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 na," you don't need to do it. Drop in the N-word. How is your approach going to change moving forward?
I don't think there's much that needs to change.
I've seen the tweets, I've seen the videos,
I don't platform trolls.
but how are you processing this?
I'm going to tell you the truth. I thought there were things about the memorial that were distasteful. I did not like him when he was alive. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, listen, you going to the dark side of where you're going right now. Is that kind of where you're going or not at all?
I didn't even want to do the show at that time. I was looking for an off-ramp. At that point, they were trying to knock me out. It made me want to stay in the game.
I got it.
Yeah. And if you don't know Patrick Bet David, PBD, let me move this. PBD. He is a billionaire, made his money off of insurance and finance. He seems to be, from what I'm seeing, the most honest billionaire. He is absolutely honest on everything that I've seen. So I'm probably gonna start watching these. I ain't gonna lie. I heard this guy talk for like 15 minutes and I couldn't do it. Just God. He says some off the wall stuff. Absolutely off the wall. He says some things that like I said, that 90% truth is the lies with only the lies with 10%, or the lies with 90% truth are the most effective. And like I think he fully believes what he's saying though. So he's honest. Y'all want to see what extreme right wing is? It's probably this guy. And he's not even calling for violence on anything. So he's still barely extreme. But the views, no. From what I've seen, no. And there's a lot of holes in logic, of course. But that's what I look for. So this guy's not in my camp. Nick Fuentes, I'm talking about. PBD, like I said, I'm gonna probably start watching a little bit more into him. He seems like an honest billionaire, which is weird. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it there. I think about a little over an hour is good enough. Sorry for all the issues, technical difficulties. I have no idea what's going on with that. You know, I'm trying to make it better. So, if you guys got any questions or anything that I should talk about, hit me up.